BS. You want to see how that ended? So she's going to give you a whole speech. It's very interesting, all right? Now, this is going to be one of the most highly publicized trials in recent memory, easily. And here's a lawyer giving a statement during his arraignment in New York City court. What do they do with that?
Welcome back. We are following some breaking news this hour from New York.
You're following it, are you? Let's just advance the tapes a little bit.
New York City.
And political fodder, like some sort of spectacle. He was on display for everyone to see in the biggest stage.
All right, you've been watching coverage of Luigi Mangione's arraignment on state charges connected to the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian.
You seem to be cutting her off right before she said something I found interesting when I watched it from a different source. Ah, yeah, could be a coincidence. We love to cut away from, you know, extremely interesting information being presented in a way your viewers will, you know, key in on. Let's not beat around the bush any more than I already have.
The second thing I want to make a record of, Your Honor, is I'm very concerned about my client's right to a fair trial in this case. He's being prejudiced by some statements that are being made by government officials. Like every other defendant, he is entitled to a presumption of innocence. But unfortunately, the way this has been handled.
This is extremely true. Luigi Mangione will almost certainly not get a fair trial. Well, obviously, but the reason for that is because it's almost impossible to ensure your jury is free of bias when, like, say, for example, a New York City mayor, Eric Adams, is, you know, gleefully walking alongside him in a highly publicized perp walk. Like, stuff like this, which we've all seen pictures of, is done for the purpose of political theater. Like, they look like they're escorting a superhuman, you know, like he could break free of those cuffs at any time, and that's when you'd need the 50 cops with the assault rifles to bear down on him. Why are they all, like, walking astride him? Because this is political theater, you know? This is why I said, like, his guilt or innocence isn't really the matter at hand here. It has been determined that he is guilty already by the powers that be. You know, there can't be any question on this. Even if he is guilty, and he is, of course, pledged or pled not guilty, by the way, so we'll get a proper trial out of this, thank God. The fact that it is so important for the powers that be to make a show out of this arrest, I mean, it's sickening, really. It shows you who really matters, you know? People kill, people die all the time. Lots of arrests happen, no attention is paid, but everybody in power wants to get in on this, you know? There can be no question of this, in spite of how popular Luigi is with people, left, right, apolitical, whatever. In this respect, in their condemnation of him, it seems there are no faults within establishment media. They've all decided what position they're taking. And it's not just one, by the way, of assumed guilt. It's assumed guilt and tutting at people for their positions on this, you know? They're very scared. They're very scared.
So far, his rights are being violated. And as you know, Your Honor, there's a wealth of case law guaranteeing his right to a fair trial, but none of the safeguards have been put in place.
But Jesus, look at this. I think they said this even in the tweet. I think this is, I'm not H-Bomber guy. Don't make a video on me plagiarizing. There was someone who quote tweeted this. They're completely correct. Why the fuck are there 3 cops here? He's at an arraignment. Is it necessary that there be 3? Literally 3. Like, you could fit maybe 5 police officers shoulder to shoulder in frame here. We're at like a 50%. We got 2.5 cops. Cop density in the space behind them. Why? Come on. I've seen plenty of videos of arraignments, court hearings, the idea that extra security is being, you know, provided here as a matter of need, ridiculous, laughable. It contributes to the image of his guilt. That giant perp walk they did, having the cops back here, the way the media, the way the politicians even have been talking about him. It all contributes to an impression of guilt, to give him the image, one, of being like a badass, but also, I think, of one, you know, for whom the matter of his guilt is settled. And to a large extent, this has already worked, hasn't it? People, for the most part, even people who like Luigi, aren't really saying the alleged killer, Brian Thompson. We should be. Again, the evidence actually linking him to the murder is, well, we're relying on a lot of police handiwork, I'll say that much. That's the point of a trial, to figure it all out, right? But look, they can make you think he's guilty, but they can't make you hate him for it.
Here, in fact, it's just the opposite of what's been happening. He's a young man, and he is being treated like a human ping pong ball between two warring jurisdictions here. These federal and state prosecutors are coordinating with one another, but at the expense of him. They have conflicting theories in their indictments, and they're literally treating him like he is like some sort of political.
I can't wait for this trial. I want so badly for all the evidence be laid out. I want to see the state desperately scramble to cobble together the evidence proving how they caught him without revealing the illegal surveillance techniques they used. You're telling me that someone recognized Luigi Mangione from what they'd seen of like grainy like pictures of person who may or may not be him, and the guy at McDonald's saw him, and we don't know who the guy is. The guy at McDonald's who ratted on him, we don't know who it is. They won't tell us, which they probably shouldn't, because he would get like harassed and maybe killed or something. But I don't want that for, you know, a rat. That's not fair. And then the cops took that claim so seriously that they rushed over to that McDonald's to apprehend him. Like that moment, that quickly. Cops won't show up to anything that quickly. And they caught him before he even finished his food? Yeah, right. I want give me the trial.
Political fodder, like some sort of spectacle. He was on display for everyone to see in the biggest staged perp walk I've ever seen in my career. It was absolutely unnecessary. He's been cooperative with law enforcement. He had been in custody for over a week.
Just remember that a perp walk like that can't happen without a bunch of different departments and a bunch of powerful people coordinating it, talking to each other about how it would be beneficial for all of them to be caught on you know, film together, basically. Like I think that we've been conditioned to assume that shots like this are normal because we see them in like movies sometimes, like the Joker gets arrested, you know. But in real life this doesn't happen. Why? Well, for one, perp walks are prejudicial. For two, the number of people here, it's ridiculous. The New York City mayor, one guy, one murder. If their goal was to remind people that we live in a society with a double-tiered legal system where the wealthy are basically like inviolate, like you can't, the rules apply differently to them. They can break the rules, get away with it. They can pay their little fines after investigations that go on for years and years and years. And poor people can kill poor people. And, you know, they get arrested sometimes. Sometimes they don't, whatever. Yeah, he gets tossed out. Cops tend not to be that thorough in their investigations. We know how many untested rape kits there are out there. But if a person from the lower class goes after a person from the higher class, then you see the theatrics come out. It's not like it's new. The ruling class has been doing this for literally as long as there's been a ruling class. Like, yeah, obviously, you know? If a 14th century French peasant strangles his wife and gets caught, maybe they, like, you know, stone him or whatever, or hit him with rocks until he dies if they catch him, unless they think it's based or thought the wife was a witch or whatever. But if a peasant murked a nobleman, yeah, of course they're going to have like a gigantic show of his execution if they can. You know, they want to humiliate him. They want to rub his nose in it, and they want to show everyone else what happens if you step out of line. I'm sorry. I'm pressing on this point too much when it should be pretty obvious to a lot of people who watch my channel. It's just like the audacity of this perp walk is insane to me. You know, it's like they're so in their own Kool-Aid that they don't even realize how damning a photo like this is. Not only that it makes Luigi look good because he's rocking the outfit and so on and so forth, that it makes him look cool as the fact that that didn't even cross their minds is insane to me. But also the fact that, like, if you want to make him unsympathetic, the worst thing you could possibly do is implicitly prove his point about the unfairness of society by reminding everyone how unequal that dynamic is. Like, you are reaffirming the premise that is the reason why so many people like Luigi Mangione, apart from how he looks. Whatever. I know I'm bemoaning the point too much. Look, I have been streaming. I've been dealing with some personal stuff. Going to the cool parties, the cool kids club. You're not allowed. No girls allowed. Obviously, don't want cooties. Just a little out of the game, that's all.
He waived extradition. He was cooperative at all accounts. There was no reason for the NYPD and everybody to have these big assault rifles that, frankly, I had no idea it was in their arsenal. And to have all of these, the press there, the media there, it was like perfectly choreographed. And what was the New York